Perfect. Well, thanks again, everyone, for joining. I think we can go ahead and get started with just some introductions. And I think as we're doing introductions, we can let other folks join in and hopefully we'll get a handful of more folks. This is the Stockton Regulatory and Enforcement Subcommittee. And before we get started, I just do want to remind folks that we have live interpretation happening during this meeting. So just encouraging everyone to speak slowly and introduce themselves. That way we can help our interpretation team. Awesome. My name is Stephanie Ng, and I'm a program manager in our Community Strategies and Resources Department, which oversees the implementation of AB 617. And I'll go ahead and pass off to our district team that's here, starting with Nancy.
Hi, everybody. Happy to be here today. My name is Nancy. I am filling in for my colleague, Rocio, and I am part of the CSR team, Community Strategy and Resources Department. And I have been with the team for a little over a year. And so with that, I am happy to pass it to Michael.
Thanks, Nancy. Pleasure to be here. Michael Hamaguchi, I'm a compliance supervisor. My office that I'm in, Modesto, we cover the Stockton area. So I'm here to answer any questions about enforcement for anybody. And I'm a 17-year district employee. Eric, we'll pass it over to you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Eric Bissinger. I work in the CARB enforcement. I'm in the community outreach section, and I work with most of my AB 617 communities are in the San Joaquin Valley, and I have Dylan Estes here to help me with some more of the technical questions. Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, hi, my name's Dylan Estes. Thanks for letting me be here. I work for CARB in the enforcement division under the diesel programs enforcement branch. And really here to answer any questions or help Eric with any questions related to diesel. I'll pass it off to Kyle.
Hey everybody. It's me, Kyle Goff. This is for sure more Eric and Dylan's Dog and Pony show today, but I'm here for a broad CARB liaison support. I guess you could say supervisory role in this regard. Yeah, it's good to see everybody.
Hey everyone, I'm Brian, and I actually work with Kyle in the Office of Community Air Protection, and I'm here in a similar role as Kyle. I'm here just really interested in enforcement issues and concerns and stuff that's happening within the community. So I'm more in listening mode as well, but can answer general questions about the AB 617 program.
Hi, I'm Debbie Provost, and I've been on the AB 617 committee for the whole time, and I am co-leader of the regulatory committee. Thanks everyone for being here, by the way.
And I'm going to go ahead. My name is Margot Prouse. I've also been on the AB 617 committee since the start, and good. Hopefully we'll get some good things going on in our community. And I'm going to pass it to Cynthia.
Good afternoon, folks. Cynthia Pinto Cabrera with Central Valley Air Quality Coalition, and I have also been on the CSC since the beginning. Is that everybody? Was I the last one?
I think that's everyone.
This is Stephanie. That is everyone except just we have our two interpreters as well joining us from Linguistica.
So thanks everybody for being here. And I just want to say there's going to be a lot of information today from Eric about trucks, heavy duty trucks on road. So I think we should get started.
Perfect. Thanks, Debbie. And maybe before I pass over to Eric, I'll just quickly set the context. I think I'm looking around the room. I think a lot of folks have been with this committee and know how we got here. But just as a reminder, back in April, we worked with the committee and especially Debbie to help set a schedule of topics for the upcoming meetings. And so today's topic is that I think based on the conversation, folks might have predicted it's heavy duty trucks. And so Eric has a presentation for us, and we actually, huge thanks to the co-leads. We met with our co-leads, Debbie, and then also Gloria, who provided us with some really great feedback of how to take feedback that CARB would find really helpful during this meeting. And so he'll give a presentation, and then we'll move on to a portion of, I think Debbie's been just such a great advocate of, the main purpose is like, what can this committee do? How can they get involved? And so that'll be kind of definitely that second half of the meeting. We'll take notes, and there'll be a couple questions posed to the committee that we'll definitely want your feedback on. So with that, I'll pass to Eric.
Okay. Wish me luck on sharing my screen. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so yeah. Hi, I'm Eric Bissinger, and I'm with CARB's Enforcement, and asked to give just going to be a big overview, like of all the, kind of the enforcement stuff that we're doing at CARB. So I'm going to start with our new clean truck check regulation, just going to give an overview of that. Then I'm going to go into, how CARB enforcement works. And then I'm going to go into the portable emissions acquisition system. And then I'm going to give a little demo on the enforcement data visualization system also. And then we'll talk about idling and no idling signs. So jumping right into the clean truck check. The clean truck check, it originally was called the Heavy Duty Inspection and Maintenance Program. And it requires most diesel and alternative fuel vehicles with a gross vehicle weight rating over 14,000 pounds, including out-of-state vehicles. So they're going to be required to regularly test and certify by a certified tester to ensure that all their emission equipment is functioning properly. And it's similar to your gasoline smog check program. So they're going to be required to report the testing data to CARB, and they're also going to have to pay an annual compliance per vehicle, a compliance fee. So just every truck's going to have pay a fee to be in this program. So the benefits for is there a question? So the benefits to the community and the residents is that it keeps heavy duty vehicles operating with a properly functioning emission control. And it ensures that heavy duty vehicles operate cleanly and improves the air quality in communities where they are common. And ensures that all heavy duty vehicles operating in California meet the same NOx and PM standards, their emission standards. So the enforcement of the Clean Truck Check program began in January of 2023. And it began by screening vehicles with our peak system and by roadside sensors to help identify potential heavy-duty vehicles that have high emissions. So vehicles flagged as high emitters received a notice to submit testing from the Enforcement Division. And upon receipt of this notice, the owners had 30 days to submit a passing test, or they would receive a notice of violation and penalties would be assessed. And if the owner of the vehicle fails to comply, we will put a DMV registration hold on that truck, so they won't be able to register the vehicle. So enforcement started in 2023 with these notices and these registration holds. And then starting last January of 2024, fleets began paying this compliance fee, and they had to register the vehicles into our database. So, and the next deadline is January of 2025. And I want to apologize, Debbie. I gave you wrong information yesterday. This new regulation will require clean truck checks, testing, and reporting to be conducted twice a year, not once. And then beginning in January of 2027, the testing and reporting requirement is going to increase to 4 times a year. So that is kind of just a big overview of the Clean Truck Check program. So here, now we want to talk about like how our inspections work. So including, in addition to using the sensors and sending out notices for testing and that kind of stuff, we also work with CHP to perform physical roadside inspections. And so to find a location, enforcement works with communities to help identify problematic areas with heavy-duty truck traffic. In addition, enforcement will examine different data sources and use CHP recommendations to find a safe location to perform a roadside inspection. So once enforcement identifies a location, they will cone off an area along the side of the road where CHP can safely direct a truck into an area where we can inspect it. And enforcement will ask CHP to pull over trucks that appear suspicious, or if they look old, or are pulling a refrigerated trailer, or if we just want to randomly check for tampering and check the onboard diagnostic system. Now, there's a bunch of reasons why we could want to pull over a truck. So the inspector will first examine the onboard diagnostic system. And so what that is, we call it OBD. That's kind of the acronym that we use, but it's kind of like you're on your car where it says, check engine light, your check engine light. So if they're operating the truck and they have their light is on, they're going to get a ticket. They can't have the light on and keep operating with a malfunctioning emission system. So following that, the inspector will ask the driver to open the hood and examine the emission control label. And the emission control label is required on every engine, and it shows the engine model year and the engine family name. Kind of gives so we can see the standards of the requirement to see if they meet the regulation. And then the inspector will also, look at the engine for any kind of tampering of the engine or the filter or anything, funky going on. So finally, the inspector will check the CARB database. We're going to look at the database to make sure that the engine is reported correctly. And if the truck is pulling a refrigerated trailer, the inspector is going to inspect that engine also. So refrigerated trailers, they have their own diesel engine attached to it. So that engine works to keep everything cold in the trailers, be it ice cream or strawberries or flowers or something, So it has its own engine and it has its own requirement and its own regulation. So they check that too to make sure that that's in compliance. So, and then, at many of these roadside inspections, we will bring peaks. We call it peaks, but it stands for the Portable Emission Acquisition System. And what it does, it measures the exhaust as vehicles pass underneath it. So if you look at this picture, you can see that long PVC piping that stretches out, over and above into the street there. That piece is attached to a vacuum system that sucks in the emissions as vehicles pass underneath it. The vacuum system then brings the emissions to an emission reader and a computer system. As trucks pass under the system, the computer displays a line graph where CARB enforcement can monitor the results from inside that van. And if the inspector sees an unusual spike in the data caused by a passing vehicle, they will notify the CHP officer to pull that truck over for further inspections. So this next slide is a short video on how peaks works. It'll probably explain it better than I just did. Let's give this a try. It's a quick video. Hopefully the sound works.
Characterizing the emissions of vehicles as we move across California Air Resources Board has found that a small fraction of on-road heavy-duty vehicles with excess emissions contributes to the majority of particulate and nitrogen oxide pollution.
Eric, this is Stephanie. I think
Can't hear it.
there's audio, but I don't think I can quite hear it.
Sounds like the presenter has a pillow stuffed over their face. Yeah. It's very muffled.
Let me see. I don't see any controls for volume on here. Anyways, I could talk about it. So you can see here, the truck goes and it's smoking it, and it'll catch the peaks. We'll catch it.
Data is transferred to CARB's secure servers for analysis and can be.
And then they send it over to analysis. And so here's an example of them coming through.
As you can see, it's unobtrusive.
Eric, do you want me to try and play it off of just like YouTube?
Yeah. You want to do that? Should I stop sharing?
Yeah. Why don't I try it? And then you all let me know, or maybe I'll do the same thing Eric does and it'll be the same result, but you can try.
Okay. Man, I really tried to get that embedded in there. I thought it was great.
So give me a moment so that I can select for you all to hear this sound.
Characterizing the emissions of vehicles as they move across the state is challenging.
Sorry, I'm going to pause it. Can you hear the sound on that?
It is better, but still fairly quiet.
You can hear it. I can hear it on mine, and mine's usually really low, so I think it'll be fine.
My closed captioning picks it up.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, there we go.
The California Air Resources Board has found that a small fraction of on-road heavy-duty vehicles with excess emissions contributes to the majority of particulate and nitrogen oxide pollution. The Portable Emission Acquisition System, or PEAX, is a roadside emission measurement system that captures a portion of a passing vehicle's exhaust as it drives through. PEAX determines an emission snapshot for each passing vehicle in real time and pairs that information with searchable license plate data collected by an automated license plate reader. The system can be used for research, modeling, and identifying high-emitting vehicles for enforcement. The encrypted data is transferred to CARB's secure servers for analysis and can be used in various ways. Here are some examples of heavy-duty trucks passing through the system. As you can see, it's unobtrusive and takes seconds to collect the data and determine the fuel-based emissions factor. For more information, visit our website at arb.ca.gov.
All right. So any questions on the peaks or clean truck check? Or we can do it all at the end. But
I just like to say, this is Margot. That looked a lot easier than in what I was envisioning in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a second to set up, but with the CHP's help, once it's up and running, it's pretty smooth. And the license plate reader catches all the license plates, and so if there's anything funky, we still have the license plate, and we can follow up with them later. So it's a pretty good system.
Oh, there's one thing to add, Eric, that I think is neat about that system. In addition to catching the emissions, because you catch the license plate, know the make, model of the truck, you get a better idea of like the age of the trucks in that area and things like that compared to like county averages. So it's a really powerful system. It's really cool.
Yeah, you can tell you the time of day where the traffic's higher and lower and stuff like that too. So it is pretty cool. So now I was going to go over our enforcement data visualization tool. So this is like it's a way for can you hear me?
Yes, this is Stephanie though. I think you have slides for this as well, right? Sorry, I knocked you off.
Yeah, I'm going to share. Oh, I'm going to share. I'm just skip this slide and go right into the website and just kind of give a quick demo of this system. So let's see if I could do that. Searching again. Okay. Can you see that? Okay. So this is the main page. And so here's a video that gives a lot better definition, explanation on how to use this system. I'm just going to give a quick overview of, Stockton pretty much. So you click on here. Here's a statewide view. And then if you go up here to this options button at the top here in blue, then this whole drop-down box selection pops up. And the good thing is that we put it so that you can break it up into these AB 617 communities. So we can go down to San Joaquin and we can select Stockton. So here's all, the results from our inspections in the Stockton area. So you can click on any of these and it'll give you results of our of the inspections of what, different things that we looked at, and all, as you kind of pop around, you can see all this stuff. And so it gives you, you can look at all these different programs here, like fuels, railroad, marine, consumer products, stationary landfills, all these different, types of programs that we enforce. And you can break it down by years also. So you can go in here and you see what happened in 2018. And then and the other one, you can get more, if you got heavy duty vehicles, this is what we're talking about today. This is like all these trucks. Here's all these different types of programs that, we can go through and look at and kind of see what's going on. So like, I know, like in our meeting yesterday, we talked about these warehouses. So I was gonna kind of look at that area. You go to over here. I wanted to show you this too. See over here where I am, this magnifying glass. It's a search part. So I just kind of put in the street where a lot of these warehouses are. So you can come down and kind of zooms in, but I'm still in San Joaquin. So let's go to all regions, and then I'll type in, because it's this area is just a little bit outside of the boundary, which is fine, because these guys, all this stuff is going on. They are near your community. So you can see all, I'm sorry, what?
Is it Arch Road?
Yeah, Arch Road, and see Fight Court is right here. So we do a lot of inspections here. I have it as truck and bus. Let me see that. I know we did more, so let's do it again. Do I have it all? Yeah, okay, so yeah, and over here is where you can zoom in and out. Do you see that in the lower right corner? So you can kind of see, where all these, here's Amazon, all these gray boxes are the, the storage facilities that everyone's talking about. So you can click on these and you can click around and see what we've done and our compliance rates and what we've been looking at on all of these. So like, here's one with this blue kind of light blue line. So that would be, if you get in closer, it breaks up into even more. See how it kind of breaks up into more specific things. So I mean, yeah, this is just another tool that you have. That is, so if you want to see what we've been doing, you can look this up. I think Stephanie was going to put this link into the chat, so you can play around with this. So I just wanted to show you that. I think I'll stop sharing and move on to the.
Oh, real quick, Eric, just one question. And I know I should probably know this because I work with you, but I noticed how some of the blue dots were on top of each other. Is each dot representative like one enforcement event, like one day? Is that why it like this aggregate like that?
Yeah, I think these are all just locations, so it depends a lot on what you select over here as your options. So right now I have heavy duty inspections. We can go to railroad, marine, and then go over to see what they're doing at the port. So here's our inspections in that area. So, but these are all years. So yeah, it's you zoom in. These ones with the light blue around it, there's more things going on in different areas. So you just got to get in there closer. So yeah, it's a cool little.
Can we click on like the one with 195? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for. So it looks like there's about 10% almost non-compliance.
Yeah.
Is that the way I'm looking at it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like about 88% compliant. But then we found, So you can break it down by violations. And then when it says pending, that means we're still investigating it. So there's none, it looks like these are all resolved.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool tool. Okay, so let's see if I can get back into my presentation. Whoops. Okay, there's my video that didn't work. And there's my EDVS. And so here's a no idling signs. And so, you know, we talked a little bit about the idling enforcement and the signs at the last meeting. So I wanted to just include this in here. So, so idling inspections are performed in the Stockton community by roaming. We kind of roam the area, we roam the community, and we're looking for where we go to where trucks congregate and where they regularly park. And we're looking for idling trucks. So if an inspector sees a truck idling, the inspector is going to set a timer and clock the vehicle. And if it goes over 5 minutes, that vehicle is going to get a citation, notice of violation.
Is there any, do they have any, because I know the police have told me, if there's a parking violation or something like that, that they'll say they have discretion, so they can make a decision, maybe not to, depending on the reason that person is sitting there. Is there any discretion involved in this?
There are like exceptions, like if it's working, if it's doing a job and it like say it's a crane or something and it has to stop in it, or if it's sitting in traffic and idling, you can't do that. So there's certain things that but
as far as discretion on the officer's part, there is none. They either get a ticket for doing this or not.
I don't think CHP or the local police is out looking for idling if it's a parking.
Right.
So but the district is authorized to do idling inspections, and of course we are too. So but there's been times where if I'm looking at the guy and he's getting out of his car, I'll say, hey, just turn it off. And if he doesn't want to do it, then I'll proceed with with my clock. But sometimes I'll give him a chance to go ahead, turn it off, please. And then maybe hand him a flyer on the information on the idling regulation. But okay, so if they're over 5 minutes, they're going to get a ticket regardless. If we clock you over 5 minutes, we're not going to, there's no discretion there.
Okay. That's what I was asking.
Yeah. If we catch you over 5 minutes, we're going to, we've already gone through, the inspection's already started. We're not stopping. So, but you also want to keep in mind that some of these trucks have this clean idle sticker on there, and they can idle longer than 5 minutes. But I also want to make it clear that all trucks, including ones with the clean idle sticker, are prohibited from idling within 100 feet of a restricted area, or what we call a sensitive receptor area. And so these restricted areas are like schools and homes and hospitals, like hotels, senior centers, child care centers. So, and in that situation, the driver has 30 seconds to turn off the engine, regardless if you had that sticker or not. You have to turn it off. So, and then, just for the most part, we have found a pretty high compliance rate for idling in the Stockton area. From our, inspections, we haven't found a whole lot of violations at all. So then I want to talk about these signs here. You can see them. We had these free, no idling signs that can be placed in areas where trucks are regularly present. We've given them to the city of Stockton and worked with their public works department and to install them in locations inside of the boundary of the 617 already. And so, that's one of the questions we have is if there's other areas that you think these signs could be put up, let us know, and I'll work with the public works department and try to get them to work with them to install it. So that pretty much finishes everything. I got some sample questions that you might want to think about. But yeah, I'm just kind of, let me know if you have any other questions of what I just kind of presented there. And
how do you decide when at the time of day? How long? I guess, okay, let me ask, it's two questions.
Okay.
How long does a inspection period take? How long does it last?
Okay. So yeah, a lot of that depends on our contract with the CHP, because they're working with us too. So we can't get any overtime hours or work like late at night or do those type of things. But yeah, generally we start in the morning and we end in the late afternoon. So
okay. So it's normally an all-day thing.
Yeah, we'll stay there all day. Yeah.
And then how do you decide where you're going to have them?
Yeah. Okay. So that, I mean, we try to work with the community and community groups to select an area that, where there's a lot of traffic, because we don't want to go someplace where, there's only a couple trucks where they're all day. So we work with you guys to kind of identify one. And so we've done events in the Stockton boundary on that South Fresno Avenue near Washington Elementary. That's got a long spot for us that we can safely put it up. And we've done some inspections over near the port. And then recently, working with the community groups, they pointed out that area I showed you on the EDVS, that, where the warehouses are. So we've done more inspections over there recently. So, I mean, that's one of the questions I have here is like, can you think of some other places where we could set this up?
Yeah. Anybody have any questions?
I see Margot's hand up, and then Cynthia after that.
Yeah, hi, this is Margot. Can you, you mentioned clean idling. So some trucks must be equipped a bit differently, maybe like the new cars that the engine turns off, but the air keeps going or something like that. What does that refer to, the clean idling?
Yeah, it's a clean idle sticker is like the newer trucks that I think they have like the urea on there, so that it kind of really helps with the NOx and other things. So it's more of a cleaner truck, and they get it through the manufacturer. Dylan, would you know more about that clean idle sticker?
Yeah, it has all the latest emission control components. So like Eric was kind of saying, it has a SCR, like a selective catalytic reducer, which is essentially your for like a light duty car, it's like your catalytic converter, I guess is a good way to put it. And then it
Can you
also has
talk a bit slower? Please talk a bit slower.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I can back up. It has all of the latest emissions control components. And so the two main ones would be like your catalytic converter for a car and a heavy duty diesel truck. It's called a SCR, selective catalytic reducer. And then it also has a diesel particulate filter. So it's equipped with all of the latest emissions control components.
So it sounds like it's the entire truck that's cleaner, not just when it idles.
Yeah, that's correct.
But again, they're not allowed to idle near the sensitive receptor areas, the restricted areas.
Right.
Cynthia?
Yeah, I was just gonna add on to the question about like where some of the locations have come from. Little Manila and CVAC. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. Cynthia with CVAC. Little Manila and CVAC have documented from the beginning of the AB 617 process some of the locations that were brought up in those community meetings, and we gave that to CARB as a follow-up from some of the projects that we've been working on and truck enforcement with them. So that's how they were able to identify some locations based on conversations the AB 617 committee had early on.
How far south does our boundary go? I'm trying to think on 617 Stephanie.
This is Stephanie. And so I wanted to thank everyone for the questions and comments. And I do see there's a couple of questions on here. And yesterday I mentioned we got some feedback about a more visual display. I'm happy to share my screen so we can all look at the boundary together. And that way, if folks have any spots that kind of, I think there's a whole host of questions that CARB is open to taking feedback on. I think two of them that are more location based are if you all have any feedback about where CARB could do additional roadside inspections, and then any additional locations where like maybe like parks and schools that we could use more no idling signs.
But I'm going to assume this applies to anywhere, not just the AB 617 boundaries, right?
This is Stephanie. I think overall, like yes, lots of folks that are on this call work beyond the boundary. I think just, of course, all of the work we're doing is focused on the boundary, but of course, anything that you all are sharing that are outside of the boundary, I think all of the folks on this call are happy to take that feedback as well. And I'm going to share my screen, and in advance, thank you all for your patience as we've done this exercise before in other communities, and I'll just be slower than you all about finding some of these locations. So thanks in advance for your patience. And this is the bottom of the boundary, Debbie. This is Clayton right here. This is I-5. This is McKinley right here.
Okay.
Are there any areas in which folks would like to recommend either for additional roadside inspections or additional signage to discourage idling in the community? And I can also share this out with folks in the chat. If you feel comfortable, it's a really simple process. I'll just share my screen. You click add a source of air quality concern. And I think for the purposes of this activity, we'll put just, truck activity if that's that. You can just, maybe you're thinking of the port perhaps. You could place a marker and you just leave a little comment. I'm concerned with truck traffic in this area, and then add the comment. And I think maybe just to help us differentiate, if you wanted to maybe add a location for no idling signs, maybe we'll just use the other, and then you can leave that, maybe it's, some school, and you could just do
That'll
this.
help, Stephanie. That'll help. This is Debbie. I'm sorry. That will help immensely.
Perfect. And I'm gonna, for those that feel comfortable, I'm gonna drop this into the chat, and it should be live for anyone in this call to use.
Great.
This is Stephanie. Maybe and I'm gonna, unless someone really would like to continue seeing it, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Would it be helpful if we brought back up Eric's slide of questions for you all to think about?
Sure. I think so.
Debbie, Margot, Cynthia, any of these questions, or I mean, really anything that's related to this topic. I'm happy to take any questions or feedback.
Yeah, point out that last bullet there. So like other mobile sources could be, construction. We do off-road, and then there's also, anything going on at the port with the ocean-going vessels and stuff like that. And then, like I had mentioned, the refrigerated trailers. If you see a lot of those, that might be something that concerns
So
you.
what happens with this is Debbie again. What happens with the refrigerated trailers? What's the requirement there as far as so they have a diesel engine that's keeping everything cool. Do they have any type of that diesel engine's going to put stuff off? What do they put off the same three that we're concerned with here?
Yeah, and it is a diesel engine, but the regulation requires. Dylan maybe can help me on this, but I think it's every 7 years it's got to be replaced with a newer one, or put on a particulate matter filter on it. So, and then I think the new regulation that for TRUs is coming out, where it's going to require the cold storage facility to ensure that every refrigerator trailer that comes into their lot to pick up a load is compliant. So we're working on making it more strict. So, I mean, one of the problems we have with the TRU, the refrigerated trailer engine, is that we can't put a registration hold on a trailer.
Right.
And so it's difficult to, really put the hammer down. So we're working with the facilities who load the trucks to ensure compliance.
Okay.
Another
so
thing
you would give them like a tester of some sort.
Yeah, we'd look at the engine model year. So if the engine model year requires that it has a filter or it should have been replaced, then they're going to get a ticket.
Okay.
And then one other thing that I point out that a lot of people talk about the idling of these refrigerated trailers, because they're always on, even when it seems like they're idling, but there's no idling regulation on the refrigerated trailer engine, because technically it's working. It's doing its job of keeping everything in that trailer cold. So so it's got to idle, or else their products will go bad.
So this is Debbie again. So these are some of the questions. We talked about this at the other meetings, and I promised that we were gonna in this meeting ask what else can we do if there's something that needs to be changed, can we change it? If there's something that's good, can we increase it, type of thing. So these questions apply to those things. Is there any others that anybody can think of that maybe isn't addressed in these?
One thing, this is Brian with CARB. One thing that I would suggest, even though CARB, we do not have any like authority over land use or like projects, we have, when community members have expressed a concern about a new warehouse being built, we have engaged and written comment letters from an air quality perspective and encouraged the facility to, like for these TRUs, to have the ability to plug in them to electricity, like when they're parked there, and things like that. So even though, the state doesn't control land use, if you have a project that's related to warehousing or that may draw heavy duty truck traffic, please let Kyle know or us know. We try to keep an eye on it, but there's a lot of warehousing happening throughout the state, as we all know. And we may be able to engage from that perspective, with commenting on their environmental impact report. So that's one thing that's kind of tangentially related, to this that may help.
Right. I was just going to say that would probably be in the planning department, even going to the planning commission or sending a letter to the planning commission, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, so usually the planning commission or the city is like the lead evaluator of the environmental impact report, paperwork. So yeah, if you as a community member or a CBO, you can totally engage in that process, but you can let us know as well. And if we do see, if we do have suggestions for how they can make that project cleaner from an air quality perspective, like we can engage too. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
And
that's a great point.
Might be helpful to time in also. I know at the very least, I know Mary Elizabeth on the Stockton CSC is very active and keeps on top of these kinds of things for a bunch of facilities in the Stockton area. I wouldn't be surprised actually if Margot is also keyed in on that conversation broadly with Mary Elizabeth. So it might be following up with her as well for some more context or information about those goings on.
Yeah. We're very involved with the warehousing projects. In fact, everyone that goes up in the county right now, we comment on and address and hope to change the pathway that it's been taking. CARB sometimes sends a letter, but not always. And right now we're actually dealing with a hydrogen project that it just occurred to me. Now that'll be a stationary source, but it's also a potentially extremely polluting source. So I'll have to check. Yeah, I'll have to check with Mary Elizabeth to see if CARB has, or maybe the Air District had commented on that one. I don't know, someone, but I don't know the status. She is very aware.
And these plans come before the planning commission, and I know they used to have well, they still do kind of have their agenda and what plans are being addressed at certain meetings every month. Or
you have to know ahead of time. Yeah.
Right. You have to really know, you really do have to know ahead of time. And I'm not sure where we could get that. So maybe that's something that we need to do. Just find out how to find out those projects.
You know what I can, this is Brian with CARB again. What I can have Kyle send on. I find it very helpful. It's actually a private person put together. It's called CEQA Alert. And what it does is it scours the clearinghouse for new projects that require environmental review and gives you like an email like once a week. And so it's really helpful because I can also send you the website where you can search for projects, but it's really hard and time consuming. But this update I get is very helpful. And then I can just shoot down it and look at the locations and the type of project and see if it's something that I can engage in. So if you're interested through Kyle, I could send you both those resources that may help you identify projects. Yeah.
Shoot, I need to get him signed up for that too. Dang.
I would like to get that too.
And Debbie, we'll include you in all our discussions going forward, including coming to planning commission meetings and the city council meetings and the board of soups when necessary, et cetera, et cetera. Okay.
I would enjoy that.
I think you would.
Yes. Absolutely. So that's an action that we can take as far as, even though this is a state enforced and a state program, the heavy duty trucks program, that's something that we can do as members of the 617 of 8617 of San Joaquin County, of residents of Stockton, whatever it may be, or all of the above. So that's an action we can take on this one. So, and also some of these, if there's any schools or parks that you notice that there's where trucks are allowed to go, at least drive by, make sure that there's no idling signs. How often are these no idling signs placed? Every 250 feet or 100 feet or?
Yeah, I know along the that South Fresno near Washington Elementary, there's that taqueria there, and they all like to park there. So I think, yeah, it's like, I think there's along that stretch, there's probably 5 no idling signs. But we gave, I think, the city like 10 or 15 of them. So I know they still have some extras, and then of course we got more. But
okay,
yeah,
so
you don't
I mean, there's a lot of parks and there's a lot of schools here,
yeah,
but not all of them have truck activity, are allowed to have a truck drive by.
Yeah,
but sometimes we see that the trucks go ahead and drive by. I have an idea. There's Mont Diablo and Occidental. There is a well, it's almost done now, but I never even thought about this. But they were working on the levee there for years now. And it's finally getting finished. So the signs probably aren't needed now, because trucks probably aren't allowed down there anymore. Once the project's done, trucks are not allowed down there. So, but that's the type of thing that we need to think of. Even if it's temporary, we could have them put temporary, a long-term temporary type of thing. Correct?
Yeah.
I mean, because there were a lot of rock trucks, and now what if we see and this was something I saw recently. There was about 20. They were redoing the street, the next street down from me, and there was, say, 10 trucks in line to dump whatever load they had, and they sat there with their engines running for half an hour. Is the city, does that apply, these regulations apply to the city also?
Oh yeah,
they do.
Yeah, no idling is allowed.
Because I mean, they were just idling in the middle of the street. The street was closed off. Our street was closed off. Just for the trucks. I mean, they could kind of get by. People could kind of get by, but there was times when the truckers had to move. Because
I mean, I would recommend. Yeah, I'd recommend in that situation to call the district complaint line and see if you can get somebody out to kind of really investigate, because.
Yeah, I think next time I see something like that, I will. And they're supposed to do a few of our streets in this little pocket here, and I think I will do that, because I think it'll happen again.
I also want to point out the difference in these two signs. Like if you look at the one on the left, it's got the penalties apply and stuff like that. But the one on the right, you see how it's more looks like a vehicle, and the kids are coming with their backpacks. So, and then there's no mention of enforcement. So like these ones are kind of good, to place near schools. It's just like a reminder for parents when they're picking up their kid, like you don't need to idle there. So I'm not sure if we've given any of these to the city public works, but I just wanted to point out that difference on that one. It's more of like a notice.
I think the Air District has made those available to schools for several years.
Yes.
Okay.
Long time Stockton was really poor in making sure they were hanging. Lodi was excellent, but I think more and more of them are up there in English and Spanish for the autos.
Oh, that's great.
Thanks, Margot. Yeah, that's a great reminder. It's across all our communities. If you all have schools that you think could benefit, we definitely will have these signs available and can make them available to schools. Thanks, Margot. And thanks, Debbie, for bringing up the good reminder that if you seeing things in the community, our Air District team is always happy. We have a complaint line. There's a lot of different ways you can contact us, and we respond as soon as we can. And Debbie, to your point, I think I love your kind of like call to action in this group and appreciate you connecting to lots of other folks that are active in projects in the community. I do see that we're really close to the end of our hour. I don't know how we've gotten here already, but it's almost 5. So I do want to just go ahead and wrap us up by just sharing the next topic for that we do have scheduled for our August meeting. I'm going to share my, if you're okay, Eric, I'm going to knock you off and share my screen. And I just wanted, so in April, we set our topic schedule. We reviewed the quarterly enforcement report. Today, we talked about on-road mobile sources like trucks. In August, we have set off-road sources such as trains and vehicles. Just wanting to check if that sounds like a good topic still. We also plan to also review the quarterly enforcement report, which I think from the last meeting, I wasn't there, but I watched the recording and I think I enjoyed the discussion, and it sounds like folks had a as we walk through the report, it sounded like I think folks had a really good opportunity to walk through different violations, learn what they are, learn what the violations mean. And so that could be our plan for the next meeting, as well as to walk through our next quarterly enforcement report and see kind of what's happening in the community.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I think the next 2 meetings are all going to relate to this one also. So everybody will probably get to know Eric more and Brian and Dylan, everybody, that's working on this one. They'll probably be a little bit more involved in the future. So with the ocean going vessels and such. So if anybody has anything else, if not, we'll say goodbye and thank you to everyone. And Margot, I'll be talking to you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes, we'll be in touch because things are happening as we speak.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
I hope to see you in August.
Thank you all.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing everyone then.
Stay cool, everybody.
Yeah, stay cool. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.